everybody. Welcome to the Dice Tower Summer Spectacular. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Eric Summerer.
I'm Suzanne Sheldon.
And I'm Mandi Hutchinson.
We didn't talk about what order we were doing that in, so I just wanted to jump
Everything
in.
else.
We are prepared. For those of you who are on video, if you don't know everyone here, these are the co-hosts of the Dice Tower audio podcast, which releases every Tuesday. In fact, an episode went up this morning if you haven't been listening to that. So you should every week. Well, almost every week. 50 to 51 weeks a year.
It's good to have a range.
That's our motto.
Is that the motto?
Well, that's because we're taking our annual break next week.
Yes.
People are like, you said every week, and it's not this week.
Yes.
All right, folks. Well, welcome back to the Summer Spectacular. Before we get started with our topic today, since we're talking about our top 10 apps, we have a contest. We've been running a lot of contests on the Summer Spectacular, and so this is one that we'll announce the winners for this tomorrow. But we're giving out 2 copies of 8-Minute Empire. And so if you want to enter this contest, all you have to do is email us at contest@dicetower.com. In the subject line, put red, the word red, R-E-D, since Red Raven Games makes 8-Minute Empire. And then in the body, you need to give me 3 things. Your name, your address, your name so we can tell you if you won, your address so we can, I guess we don't need your address for this one. Never mind, just your name, 2 things. Your name, and then you either need to put the word Steam or iOS. So we're going to give out 1 copy on Steam and 1 copy on iOS. So if you have both, then pick the one you think fewer people will pick. So your odds are greater.
Sure.
So that's, so that's cool. I wish you all great success. We'll announce the winners on our website sometime tomorrow morning. You can go to our website and see who won everything. And thanks to Red Raven Games for providing those. Well, top 10 apps. Before we started, I was telling everyone here that this is the list where I am maybe played the fewest.
Noob.
I'm not that far behind you, though. I don't think I've played nearly as many of these as maybe other members of the panel.
I will say I played more in 2020 than I played all the years prior combined.
That's not
Okay.
surprising considering how gaming has had to shift in the year of 2020.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But there's always some favorites. I know my list is not going to be a surprise. Well, maybe a little surprise. And nobody talk about certain types of games that I say I don't like that I seem to like.
What, like space games?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't understand. Here's the thing.
Shields
I don't
up.
have any ideas on what's on anyone's list, actually. I don't. But let's talk about our lists and how we put them together. So, for example, for me, I did kind of a combo of how much I like the game. Obviously, I don't like a game. I don't care how good the app is. But also how much I like the app. There are some games that are some of my favorite games that did not make my list because I didn't really care too much for the app integration. For example, Viticulture just came out a couple weeks ago, and I thought the app was okay. I love Viticulture, but it didn't make my list for that reason. What about y'all?
I think a similar approach. A lot of my game choices are because I like the game to begin with, and if I didn't enjoy the app, it's going to knock it out of contention. But I don't have, like we said at the top, as wide an assortment to choose from. So this is much more of a recommended list, stuff I've enjoyed, as opposed to a definitive, like, these are the greatest app implementations ever. I don't have that level of expertise here.
I just looked at my logged plays. Whichever ones I played the most of, those are the ones that made the list.
I'll be really honest. I've played a lot of board game apps, and I have I know them pretty well. I know them so well that I know the different types of apps that come out of different development shops. Mm-hmm. And so getting to a top 20, not bad for me. Cutting that 20 down to 10 was really, really challenging. And I switched my list and I switched the order multiple times and things like that. So ultimately, I kind of tried to land on a list out of my top 20 that spread the love a little bit between types of games, depth, complexity of games. But I really feel like my top 10 reflects a nice broad swath of what the board game app market has to offer today.
All right. Well, we're going to get started here in just a second. I was going to say something, and I can't remember what it was. So, I know what I was going to say. I was going to say, Suzanne, maybe some of the 20 games that you didn't pick will be on our list, and then all will be right in the world.
Fingers crossed.
Pretty good chance, yeah.
All right. Well, Eric, start us off here.
Number 10.
My number 10, we're going to start with something very simple, and that is Onitama, the two-player abstract game. What I really like about the implementation of Onitama is the simplicity of the presentation. It gets you right into what you're doing there. It has a nice tutorial that explains the concepts very well, but it almost, if you lay the iPad in between the two players, it is just a portable version of the actual game. That you can have anywhere. And so you have it sitting between you and on either side and can play it that way. I like how that all works out. So Onitama is my number 10.
My number 10, well, this is one that everybody's probably played, or a lot of you, is Lords of Waterdeep. So I play this one quite a bit. I'll be in line at the bank. I'll be in line doing lots of fun things. And I'll play Lords of Waterdeep. It's easy. It translates exactly the same from the board game into the app. I play it with people all over the world. For me, it's a really straightforward app. I like the way it's done. Lords of Waterdeep. Played in line at the bank. Quite fun.
I haven't played this one yet. I apologize. But
what? You've not played this one?
I haven't either.
This is old.
No shaming. No app shaming.
Okay.
No, I'm okay with that. But is the expansion included?
I'm trying to think. Yes, it is. It is. Yes.
Because I really like the game with the expansion. It would be hard to go back without it. Do you play it on the phone, you said?
So oddly enough, a lot of the ones I play that are going to be on my list, I play on my phone. Because I'm always out and about. I don't always have my iPad with me. So if I can play it on my phone and on my iPad and it works great, then it's definitely be on the list. So I played on my phone.
Yeah, I play almost no games on my phone. I just like the bigger screen.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, my number 10 is Onitama.
What?
Eric and I have an overlap. Excellent job, Eric. Well done, you.
Legitimatization. I love it.
Absolutely. You are fully validated. Everything that Eric said totally applies. This is an app with a huge amount of polish. The only thing I will add on top of this is that it is free to download and play. So one of the really cool things is that if you want to play this on your phone, you can just download it right now. They do offer in-app purchases, or IAP, that allow you to add different looks to the game, which is a really nice way to generate some revenue that makes it completely optional. So I bought all the skins just so I could support the development shop on that front. But Onitama, top-tier app, excellent experience.
You would think of all the people here, this would be the one I've played, since it's part of the Dice Tower Ascension line. But I'll tell you why, because I play the actual game so much.
I think so.
And
I just showed Eric
the game itself is fairly portable and easy to move around for me. That's the only reason. But if you can change the backgrounds, that's a stupid thing that gets me excited, but it does.
Yeah,
I like that sort
really
of thing.
nice touch.
It's your number 1? Yeah.
So, alrighty. So my number 10 is, I think, the first app I put on my iPad when I got it. No.
Don't talk at all, ever.
Sparkles that some of these newer ones it's like if there's ocean, I like it to be like wavy.
No, I agree with you, Tom. I think that's absolutely a good thing.
Going on in Race for the Galaxy. There's
True.
a lot of iconography, there's a lot of small print, and I think if you had too many visual bells and whistles, like they're already cramming so much information on that screen. I think if you had too many bells and whistles, it could be distracting and actually make it harder to play the game in that format. But hey, it's all personal taste, and aesthetics do matter when we play our games. So who am I to judge?
That was the mild rebuke for the number 10
Yeah,
slot.
I don't know what I was. Was I wrong
it's
or
gonna
not? I
get
can't
worse,
tell
yeah.
actually. It's only number 10. I see.
Exactly.
All right, my number 10 then. Race for the Galaxy.
Number 9.
Number 9 is a deck building game, and apps do really well for deck builders because they handle all that shuffling, as Tom mentioned, for the Race for the Galaxy app. My number 9 is Shards of Infinity. I like the combat effects in Shards. At the end of every turn, you can attack the other player, and it makes it very clear how much damage you are taking. It's almost a visceral experience as the enemy comes at you, your opponent comes at you. And the fact that it does all the shuffling for you makes the whole thing just fly. So number 9, Shards of Infinity.
Excellent.
Just real
choice.
quick.
Yes,
This just missed my top 10.
it's a good one.
My number 10 was Race for the Galaxy, since apparently a lot of that sound was missed. I like it a lot. Blah, blah, blah.
Thank you for the recap.
All right. Well, my number 9 is much like Tom's, Race for the Galaxy. Blah blah blah.
Yeah! In your face, people. That I don't know what I'm in your facing about.
This is a good one. It's a big. So I play this one. I think I play this one. Yeah, actually, I played this one on my phone. It's a big app, though. It takes up a lot of room when you put it on your system. So I do find that sometimes if you don't have the capacity to use it on a certain type of technology, it does run slow. But overall, the actual app and the graphics and whatnot, I like it a lot. I like the game. So Race for the Galaxy, my number 9.
So, quick question: when you play the game, do you play base game with expansions? How do you play it?
I think this one I played mostly the base game.
Yeah, I find myself leaning that way too. How many players?
With Race, just 2.
Yeah, I really like it with 2 players
2,
also. It's a
yeah, and maybe
great
that's because in real
two-player
life I
game.
like it with 2. You know what I mean? So yeah, I kind of stick to that format. So yeah. Anyway, there you go.
All right. My number 9 is one I really debated about because I had to get a great roll and write. There are a few really good roll and write board game apps out there, but ultimately the one that snuck onto my top 10 is Hex Roller. This is a newer app that came out within the last year. The Hex Roller in the North American market is published by Renegade Games, and this one just hits a sweet spot for me in terms of length of play and gameplay challenge. One of the things I really like about the apps that come out of this developer is that they often add in the ability to use the app as a standalone app, but it also lets you use the app as just a sheet or as just the dice. So if you're at a game night and you want to play Hex Roller with a group of friends, you can, just using the app, if somebody didn't bring the game, or if you're short some pens, or if you're short some paper, you can play Hex Roller using the app still within a group setting. And I really, really like that about this. But for a solo play experience, Hex Roller is very, very smooth. And I like the game a lot, and it just plays beautifully in digital form.
I've not played this one, but I like that concept of using the phone as a sheet. I mean, it's problematic, everyone needs to get it, right, for it to work.
Right.
But are the dice in this game normal dice?
Well, no, I mean, for a Hex Roller, the specific Hex Roller dice, because remember, Hex Roller dice aren't standard D6s. They're D6s, but they have different values on them.
Got it.
And-
Okay,
and
so you actually need a copy of the game if you're going to do that.
Right, but Hex Roller has dice, so you can also use Hex Roller as just the dice. So if everybody had paper sheets, but you lost 2 of the dice, you could use the Hex Roller app as just the dice roller.
Can
Or
you
if
shake
have-
the device to roll the dice?
Ooh, I haven't tried that. I'll have to check that out after this.
Just don't drop it. Your iPad.
If you each have your own phone, and then you get a 5th phone, You could put that phone in the middle for the dice and have each person have their own phone for the sheet.
Yes, and that would be the most expensive game of Hex Roller ever.
Well, you know
what?
We complained about that years ago.
I
When
was
all
gonna
these
say the
apps
same
started
thing.
showing up. We're like, wait, everyone needs to own an iPhone to play the Catan app? I don't think so. And that's exactly where we are. Yes.
I remember when Scrabble was announced, and they said you could play Scrabble, and then each person would have their letters on their phone, and I was like, that's a $600 game. Who would? Blah, 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 blah. Don't go back and listen to old podcasts that never happened.
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
It
Sure,
is.
why not?
My number 9 is the oldest app I played, and in fact, I first played it on the computer, and it was the first well-done one that I saw, and that is Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride on the app itself. This is possibly one of my most played ones. It's definitely my wife's most played app. I like this one. We often, if I'm flying on a plane with someone, this is a great pass and play game I found to play. It has lots of the maps in it, incorporating the rules. The music, I don't know what it is. I really like the music that Days of Wonder picked for the background of it, and the choo-choo sound doesn't get annoying. I really enjoy the whole experience, and I think it's really aged well. Like, I go back and play some older apps, and you're like, oh, yeah. But the Ticket to Ride one, I think, has held up, and I think it's been out close to a decade, right? It's been out for a while.
Not quite, but it's been out for like 7 years.
Well, the
or so.
computer game has been out for
sure.
Okay.
almost as long as the game itself, and the app is almost a straight port of that. They changed the waiting room and stuff like that, but I really like it.
Do you always play with the sound on?
Well, it depends if I'm with people or not, obviously,
Okay.
or if I'm playing in bed at night and I don't want to wake up my wife. But if I can, I like playing apps with the sound on because I like all the noises and music.
He likes the choo-choo sound. You can't deprive Tom of the choo-choo sound.
Listen, if I say the Ticket to Ride choo-choo sound, you can hear it in your head right now
I
if you
actually
play
could,
Ticket to
as-
Ride. It's very distinctive,
As-
and I like it, yes.
Noted.
Number 8.
So you'll notice with a lot of these apps that there's a certain weight of game, a scope of game that works really well for an app. It's sort of hard sometimes to get an epic game to an app format, but my number 8 does that. It's Eclipse. Eclipse's scope is pretty big. There's a large board. There's a lot going on, and I really like the way Eclipse presents all of the pertinent information around the outside of the screen and allows you to see what's going on well. It also makes it nice and speedy. I did a pass and play game on a train ride to New York, and we finished in 90 minutes, and it flew. And plus there was a really cool like opening sequence that for some reason they took out, and I don't know where it went because I went looking. I used to just open the app to play the opening sequence with the cinematic intro, and I can't find it anymore. So if anybody knows where it went, I'd love to know. On the Eclipse app, my number 8.
You're looking for just the opening sequence?
It's on YouTube. I've found it on YouTube.
So you
Did
just
you
play
just
that
ask
like, as a
people for something
nighty-night
you already
loop?
had?
No, I want to know how to find it in the app again. Like, where's the menu option that says play intro? I can't find it.
Oh,
But I found it on YouTube, so I can still watch it that way.
do you play it on YouTube and then play the app?
That seems like the only way to do it. All right, everyone gather around. We must watch the intro, and now we will play the game. That's the only way.
Sorry. Okay, so my number 8. Oh, I'm crying. Sorry. Oh goodness.
I'm
Okay.
It
sorry.
happens a lot when I talk to Eric. It's very, very understandable.
Oh, my number 8 is an app that's, I think, another one that's been around for a while. I've really back in the day, even now, liked the board game. It has, those outer worldly kind of scary but not scary kind of atmosphere. My number 8 is Elder Signs. And Suzanne's face says it all. I don't know if it's like what people would consider an amazing app, but I really like the ambience that it gave me when I played the game. Simple dice rolling placement, that sort of thing. So it's not super difficult, but I still think it translated well from the game to the actual application. And it's one that I can play by myself pretty quickly. Now, am I good at it? No. And that smarmy curator. Oh my goodness, do they ever capture his essence in the digital form? Anyway, number 8, Elder Signs.
So Elder Signs is one of the older iOS Android apps as well. So that one's 6 years old.
Yeah, it's up there.
And it's nice that it's held up. I agree. I really enjoyed it in app form too, Mandy.
Thank you.
My number 8 is Sentinels of the Multiverse. Nice. Sentinels of the Multiverse is a cooperative game, is one of the rare cooperative games that I enjoy. And then the app came out and it just changed everything for me with Sentinels because it made the game so easy to play. I can knock out a solo game so quickly and easily, and there's so much content. Every hero and promo that you've seen come out for Sentinels is in this app, and all of that damage tracking, all of the heat damage and electric damage and cold, all of that, the app takes care of it for you. It's got a wonderful visual presentation that kind of makes it look like a comic book. This is an app that was thought through end to end and brings to life a board game in a beautiful way in the digital sphere. And Sentinels, it is a phenomenal app, and I've played it measures more in app form than I have in physical form. I just love it.
I need to play this.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't need. I'm afraid to play this one because I heard that once you play it, you don't want to go back and play the card game.
I did hear that. I didn't enjoy the game, the actual physical game. Now, it could have been just the one time I played it. So is this one of those games where I should just get the app?
I think it depends. Now, keep in mind, I only play it solo. So if you like the communal kind of cooperative element of Sentinels of the Multiverse, then I don't think the app replaces that at all. In fact, you might just want the helper app that they also created that helps you track the stats separately for the physical game. But for me, I don't love cooperative games in general.
That's true.
Being able to knock out Sentinels of the Multiverse solo, it's with no work, no setup, no cleanup, no tracking. It's amazing.
So just to clarify, you don't like cooperative games, but if you win by yourself, it's okay because you don't have to share the victory with anyone?
No, it's more like I have to stand by my decisions and live with my mistakes, and I own them wholly as opposed to having other people, make mistakes.
I have never blamed another person in a co-op game. My number 8 is another one that's been out for a while. I'll get to, there's some newer ones soon eventually, but this one I think this one I played the most of all the ones, and that is Ascension. It's a deck builder that I actually find to be, I enjoy it. I don't enjoy it as much as, say, Dominion and stuff, but the Dominion app, that's not on my list, you might notice. It probably won't be on many people's lists, unfortunately. And it could be. Dominion could be the deck builder card game I played all the time, but since it's not, Ascension is a lot of fun, and they have every expansion for Ascension. So you could play different games all the time. All these rules are in there. And again, even though it's an older app, it plays very smoothly and is a lot of fun. And this one has pretty much replaced the actual card game for me. I now only play the new card game when it comes out with a new expansion that's not on the app yet.
I actually really, really like Ascension. And for all those looking to buy it, it's on sale on Steam, the whole bundle. Yeah, I had to go and buy the expansion. So it's really good.
No, I really like it.
You can buy not only the expansions, you can buy all the promos.
Yeah, everything.
It is a bit of a hole, but there's a lot. And then you can play with the whole deck, which I tried one time, and it's ridiculous. It's like 1,500 cards or something. It's not worth your time.
I don't think that would just shut your device down with all the shuffling.
Exactly.
That's not.
You don't shuffle ever.
That's not how it
never
works.
shuffles.
Right. There's no shuffling.
Number 7.
Another deck builder sits in the number 7 slot for me, and that is the word building deck builder Paperback. I really enjoy the physical version of this. And the app is just so easy to jump into. It's very quick when I have a small amount of time to say, yeah, let's just do a paperback run. And you're spelling words. It's got the built-in dictionary, so you don't have to hem and haw over what is allowed and what isn't. It even in the loading screen tells you how to play the game, which is kind of a nice little twist. And when you're all done, it gives like a little award at the end for who had the best word, the highest scoring word, and it's sort of an extra achievement to reach. I really enjoy Paperback, my number 7.
My number
Can
7.
you save games? I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
waited too long to think. Just like you do in paperback. Can you save games in
If you
paperback?
back out, you can resume a game that is in progress, I believe, yes.
Okay.
I don't know if you can
'Cause
have,
this
it's
is a
not like
game-
save slots or anything.
Mhm.
It's just, the one that's in progress, you can pick it back up.
This is the type of game I feel like I might think about a lot, and I might take me longer to play. I don't know.
Sure.
Sorry, Mandy.
That's okay. Oh, mine's not super exciting. It's another oldie but a goodie. Wow, I sense a theme in my list. Simple, tile laying game. The tutorial in it's pretty good. I actually have it on Nintendo Switch, and I also have it in app format on my iPad. And my number 7 is Carcassonne. So I did not love it on the Nintendo Switch. Suzanne and I had a discussion about this, and I forget the reasoning. Suzanne, you had mentioned to me I might get you to explain the differences between the two. I love it on the iPad. It's great. So that is one that I do prefer to play on the iPad because of the bigger screen. It's a very straightforward app. It's pretty simple, but if you like the game, it's going to translate well into the app as well. On my Switch, didn't love it. I don't know what it was. Suzanne, we had a conversation. Do you remember?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those things where the original digital license holder developed the app for iOS, and then another developer picked up the rights for Switch and Android, and so they were segmented. And then recently, within the last year, the license went wholly to the same developer. So, Mandy, hold on to that iOS version because the version you love is now defunct. And everything is just the Nintendo Switch Android version. They're all the same.
Okay, I'm glad you told me that. Glad to have it on the iPad.
Don't delete it.
Don't delete.
Yeah,
Don't
delete
hook
it.
up to the
That's
internet.
very true. Don't delete
Don't
it.
add any downloads. Unplug from iOS.
Turn off
and
the
don't-
internet.
Don't get a new iPad.
Yeah, exactly.
30 years later, I still have Carcassonne.
I still have Arc.
My number 7, Through the Ages. Putting heavier games on a digital format, just like Eric was talking about with Eclipse, can be a real challenge. But I think the Through the Ages app did an excellent job. Now, I'll be honest, it took me a little bit of time to adjust to the compromises that they had to make from the board game to make it all fit on the screen. But once you get used to it, it plays so beautifully. And I think that for people who may have found Through the Ages intimidating or difficult to get to the table in real life, I really think checking out the app is worth the effort, because that wonderful, meaty, thinky gameplay is all in there. The interface is really, really smooth, and I just think they did a great job with it. And Through the Ages, if you enjoy heavier Euro-style games, this app is worth checking out.
All right, my number 7 is a crossover with Eric, who previously mentioned this one. I think, Eric, you said Shards of Infinity.
I did.
So Shards of Infinity is kind of the new Ascension, in a sense. They're very similar, even though they're from different companies. And I have to put Shards of Infinity slightly higher, even though Ascension has a deeper bench of cards to pull from. The Shards of Infinity has the pizzang and the whiz-bang, and I really like that mechanism of being able to buy a card and using it right now. You don't get to keep it
Yes.
then, but that concept is really neat. And I know the expansion for Shards of Infinity is not too far away, and then I'll be super happy when there's even more cards in the game. But for now, it's winning on whiz-bang alone, and I'll try to say less of that word as we go through.
I like pizzang better anyway.
Wait, is this the one that makes the pew pew noises?
Uh,
Okay, that was really bad. But you know what I mean.
I mean, it does have explosions.
Honestly, maybe I don't.
I don't recognize that sound, so
Maybe that was in
Maybe-
my head because I play with the volume off. I'm
If it's
sorry.
not a train noise, Tom doesn't care.
I don't hear your sound effects in your head on my actual app. Okay. My number 7, Shards of Infinity.
Number 6.
My next selection, my number 6, is so new it's not even available to everyone yet. It is the Roll for the Galaxy app.
Oh.
It's currently in beta, and I think there are still ways to get on that list. It should be available soon because they're making improvements all the time. But the Roll for the Galaxy app, I believe, is from the same developers as the Race app. And it again speeds up the game a lot. It rolls everything for you. It even has an auto allocate button that can send all the matching symbols exactly where it needs to go, and then you make the decisions that need to be made. You can focus on doing that instead of dragging the dice everywhere they need to go when it's just a simple decision. You can flip the tiles around when there are bonuses for a particular development you've created. It automatically calculates those bonuses and those scoring bonuses, and it all just flows really well. And my youngest and I have played many pass and play games just while we're eating breakfast or something. Let's play a round of Roll for the Galaxy. So when it is fully available, I highly recommend my number 6, Roll for the Galaxy.
My number 6 hasn't been designed yet.
Yeah, well,
I kind of did stick to actually available apps. So
I agree.
all of my other apps are super old, so I just thought I'd have something that's cutting edge.
Recent.
I will also point out that not only is this a developer of Race for the Galaxy and Roll for the Galaxy, they also developed the Shards of Infinity app too.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
Good
I
stuff.
actually. What's more important, do you think, the developer of the app or the publisher of the board game?
For
the
the
app?
app.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just
I
saying.
Well, you can
I
have a
know
great
that was
game, and then
Sure.
it can be implemented terribly. And so,
Sure.
yeah, absolutely, the developer of the app is more important.
Yeah, I've had many an app that I don't love the board game, but I have the app and I'm like, ooh, the app is excellent because of the way they've done it. So yeah, 100%. I'm looking at you, Splendor. Oops. Okay. Now, my number 6 is Istanbul. So Suzanne and I played this not too long ago in a little head-to-head match, which I lost horribly, but I still love the game. It's very pretty, and it does represent very well as it does in the board game, translates again well into the application. Easy to follow. From what I remember, the tutorial is pretty good, and it does give you hints as you play. So if you're not sure about what a card does, or if you're not sure about something, you can either hover or click, and it says, oh, this is what this card means. And I like that, especially if it's a game you haven't played for a while. You don't want to have to go through the entire tutorial. You can kind of play and figure it out as you go. So Istanbul is still really strong for me, and that's my number 6.
And Istanbul has the most important feature.
Oh,
An
yes,
undo button.
Yes, I've used that many times. The undo button. Yes, and it's funny we haven't talked about that yet. Undo button is paramount in an app. I'm telling you that zooms it up the list if it has an undo button.
Absolutely.
Why? It's so obvious.
Right.
We don't do that in real life. If I'm like, I put this piece here. Oh, actually, I mean to put it like within a second. And someone's like, nope, you dropped the piece. I'd be like, we are no longer playing games together.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My number 6 reflects my appreciation of solo games in app form, and that is Onirim. I really enjoy solo games. I have a small collection of games that are just, the entire Universe series and a series of a number of other like McKee and other games that are solo play games. And they make great apps, and I wish more of them would be released as apps. Onirim, the app, is an excellent addition of Onirim, the card game. It looks beautiful. It plays really simply and easily. And to what Eric was saying about deck builders, the shuffling is removed from the problem.
But the shuffling's my favorite part of an iron.
Then play
Very
the physical
calming.
game, and you will be fine.
Well,
But-
that's not exactly a false statement, but that doesn't actually mean I like the game either.
Well, that's okay, because everybody is allowed to have their own taste in games, including you, Tom. But
That would be weird if we thought otherwise.
I
You must
really
submit
like
to my views.
Onirim, and I think the app just makes the game so simple and easy to play on the go. So if you're the kind of person who, plays in line or plays while you're pumping gas or goofing around the house or whatever, Onirim is great for a really quick solo play game and a very smooth presentation.
I'm sorry. Do people play games while pumping gas?
I
Oh,
do.
Really?
I do.
Wow.
Huh. All right. No, that's fine. That's fine. I just didn't know that was a thing. All right. Actually, do you guys remember what pumping gas was like? It's been a while. for me.
Right?
I had to do it the
Back
other
in the
day, and I was
days.
like, this is the hand that touches the things.
Right.
And then I'm
Where
not
does it
touching
all
anything
go?
else other than this hand. Yeah.
All righty. My number 6 It would have made more sense if this was number 7, but whatever. My number 6 is Seven Wonders Duel. This is a really well done implementation of Seven Wonders Duel to the point where, once again, it's hard for me to want to play the actual game than this one because all the cards are nice and neat as opposed to the, when people set the cards up, you're like, that doesn't look like the picture in the book. The app is very nice about that. It also doesn't, it tells you when you can play cards or not, which is a useful thing too. So in Seven Wonders, if you pay cards and you don't have the stuff, you got to pay extra for the resources. That's a little thing, but the app controlling that I think it works really well. I like it. I think Seven Wonders Duel is a fantastic game anyway, but I found this to be enjoyable. And it's one I like also playing against other people. Most apps I play by myself. This one I like playing against other humans.
Great choice.
Yeah.
That's my number 6.
Number 5.
For my number 5, I'm going to sync up with Mandy. My number 5 is Istanbul. I pretty much agree with everything you said there. The tutorial is really solid. It moves at a good pace. That undo button is very useful, but there are a couple of times in Istanbul where you cannot undo an action, but it tells you that. There's like a little icon that says, if you do this, you're stuck with it. And I appreciate that warning because it's revealed new information. You can't, unsee that stuff. But the fact that it tells you, it's like, oh, okay, that's what I want to do. And the other thing I like about the implementation is this status panel on the side of the game that tells you how many gems each person has, what their resources are. It's all right there. So, if you're playing the real version of Istanbul, you have to keep track of all that. What can you afford? What are you about to do? What are you going to be trying to get to? And it's all just right there in the corner of the screen. And I appreciate that. In Istanbul, my number 5.
My number 5. Okay, can we do like a little charades?
2 words. Driving.
Driving.
Steering.
Laughing.
Potion explosion.
Spy Hunter.
Wait, was this potion?
Yeah, I'm holding it and going, ha ha ha, like an evil scientist. And then
That was definitely
That's
driving.
That
not
was
what-
driving. That was a steering wheel.
Or milking cows. It may have been milking cows.
That was
I'm not playing charades with Mandy.
Exploding
There-
cows?
Eric
Okay,
nailed
note to
it.
self, never play charades with Mandy.
It was a bad day, all right? Potion explosion is my number 5. Honestly, I think I just really like this app because I thought it was really well done. And it is, I think this is the one that started as like a digital game and then went to a board game and then was back as a digital game or something to that effect. So you can see that it is something that plays well in that format. This is one I play with the sound on just because I like the music. It's very happy. But
that's right.
right? No, this one is when you play with the music. There's not much to say with this one. I mean, it's very illustrative. It follows the same way as the board game. I like the animations. I like the music. Guess what? It's just pretty and I like it. And that's all I'm going to say about Potion Explosion, my number 5.
It's
I
a great
kinda
choice, and
stayed
it was
away-
definitely my top 20.
Yeah.
The other thing is it plays beautifully against online opponents. The asynchronous play is really great on it.
Good. That's right. Yeah, you can exactly. You don't have to play right away. So it's just really fun.
I stayed away from it only because it just seems weird to play an app of a board game that's based on an app.
But it's so
I mean, that's a
is.
stupid reason. I'll get around to playing it, I guess.
It's
The beautiful music has me on.
right?
Tom, you have a hang up about games. Who would have thought? I never would have guessed.
I have no opinions.
My number 5, and this is actually a drop for this app in my top list over the years, mostly because so many other great apps have come out, but it still has to be in my top 10, probably for a very, very long time, and that is the Star Realms app. Again, deck builders make wonderful board game apps. Star Realms came out early, and they came out extremely strong from the get-go. They've continued to support the app, including a UI update and continuing to pump out more and more content for it. All the expansions are in there. There's a solo mode campaign in there as well that is very, very challenging. And the online play is so great, whether you're playing in real time or asynchronously against opponents. And I have played literally thousands thousands of games of Star Realms in app form. And it is, as far as I'm concerned, it is a quote unquote classic.
This just
Thousands.
missed my list. I think it's 11 for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm nearing 3,000 plays of it, Tom. Yeah.
It's good. It's a good
That's
choice.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, my number 5. Some people don't want to shuffle cards in life, so they play deck building games on an app. I don't know that I want to sleeve them, so Mystic Veil hits my list here.
Yes.
Now, I like Mystic Veil in person. It is fun to sleeve the cards, but there definitely is the fact you pick up a card and it's fat, and you're like, oh, that's a good card.
Yeah.
You don't have that in Mystic Veil, and you also don't sit there while someone takes a while to sleeve the cards. Like, hang on. I'm like, just put it in the card. Can I help you? Is that just me? All right. Anyway, Mystic Veil. It also has pretty, backgrounds and everything, and for a game that takes up a lot of table space, Mystic Veil is pretty easy to zoom around and look at all the stuff. I seem to actually have an easier time finding stuff there than I do in the actual game. And I don't know. I like it. I think I've always liked Mystic Veil a lot. This has reinvigorated my enjoyment of it. And I wonder if I might only play it on the app from now on. So my number 5, Mystic Veil.
This missed my list, but I think I just forgot about it, to be honest. It's a good one. Okay, everyone knows I'm not really good at this whole top 10 thing, and I forget things. That is one that should have made the list. I really enjoyed it. I think we played it on Steam, was it, Suzanne? And I quite liked it. I liked the animations in that one. When the actual, so anybody who plays it on Steam, you hold your little mouse on the cards. Yes, these are things of interest to me. And if it has a horse on it, the horse will move. And okay, I noticed these things. I'm into art.
I was making an app purchase not too long ago, and it was between Istanbul or Mystic Veil that I was trying to decide between, and I went with Istanbul instead. So now I have to go get Mystic Veil.
You have to get Mystic Veil.
Number 4.
I swear my number 4 has nothing to do with the world situation. It is Pandemic, the Matt Leacock cooperative
I've always liked
classic.
Pandemic.
I love Pandemic. And when I'm playing, physical Pandemic, I always like to pay attention to where the hot zones are, where are danger points. And the way that the app is presented, so the cubes sort of spin around the cities as they are placed there. And a single cube just sort of lazily moves around the city. And 2 cubes, they're moving a little bit faster. But when a 3-cube city shows up, it makes a big deal about it. And that thing is spinning, it's glowing red, it's pulsing, and it's very easy to be like, okay, this needs to be dealt with. And it sort of ratchets up the tension just a little bit. It's a very dramatic presentation, but it works for this game because it's something that you as a team have to deal with. So I appreciate that in the co-op classic Pandemic, my number 4.
I have not played Pandemic. Yes, I know. I was tempted to get it on Nintendo.
The board game?
Yeah. Okay, to be fair, I have played the Cthulhu version, which was very well done, by the way. Whoever did it, you could tell that they were GM because they were so
there
good.
when you played that. I remember that.
Yes, you were there, actually. And I think, Eric, you taught me Rising Tide. Is that a Pandemic game?
That is a Pandemic game.
Yeah, but the actual, legitimate, original Pandemic, I have never played.
Wow.
Well, next time I see you, I have this app.
Yeah.
It would make it very easy to play.
Okay, we should give it a try. Well, a Feld has to make my list at some point, and this is the time. So my number 4 is Castles of Burgundy. I really like the way that this app was done. I've played it many times by myself, and I've played it with Suzanne, actually. I think you're the person I played it with the most. And I like the way it cycled through the turns when it played. So I would play, but if you played, it would replay the turn, so you were able to see, you weren't missing anything. And I liked that because Castles of Burgundy, it's one of Feld's smaller games, but there's still a lot going on. And in the physical game, you've got tiles and things to work with. You don't have to worry about that so much in this game, right? Because it's on the app. I find it's very well laid out. I thought the tutorial wasn't bad. I always try and play a game, if I haven't played it for a long time, without reading the rules. I just try and go through the tutorial and play it, see how I pick it up. And this one wasn't too bad. You know what I mean? It gives you a good idea of how it plays. So Castles of Burgundy is one I actually play quite a bit of, and it gets my little Feld fix in a short amount of time.
My number 4, previously on other people's list, a little higher on mine, though, is Race for the Galaxy. Race for the Galaxy is a Yeah, phenomenal app implementation, along with what everybody else has already said. I have no personal complaints about the background aesthetics of it, Tom.
You already mentioned that back in 10 when no one could hear me.
But the other thing I want to point out for Race for the Galaxies, I think that the team at Temple Gates, that is the development shop behind it, has put a special emphasis on AI development. So Race for the Galaxy, Roll for the Galaxy, and Shards of Infinity, which have all been mentioned on this show and these top 10s already, they reflect a really strong solo play experience because, in part, but a large part, is their AIs are excellent. They put in a lot of work to make them very smart and very challenging for you so that you have an engaging gameplay experience that replicates a real life experience a little more closely than some other groups do. So Race for the Galaxy, Tom, you said this earlier about now I can't remember, but it reinvigorated my enjoyment. In fact, I shelved Race for the I traded Race for the Galaxy, and then the app came out, and then I had trade regret. I kind of wished I still had the physical version.
You still have the app.
Yeah, I love the app. Race for the Galaxy is excellent.
Well, I shall return the favor. My number 4 has been previously mentioned by Suzanne, and that is the delightful but fairly heavy Through the Ages. Now, what Through the Ages does, though, I think is more than just being a good implementation of the game itself. It does a really good job of it, but it also introduces these really interesting scenarios and things you can play through that I don't believe that's in the actual game at all. I think it's only in the app. These different, they're almost puzzles of sorts. And I really like it. It's really well done. Unlike Eric, I like the heavier games on apps because they take care of a lot of the bookkeeping that I don't need to worry about. And Through the Ages, the game is literally bookkeeping a lot of it, and that's fine. And it does it in a really good way. In fact, it's a good way, I think, to learn how to play the game. If you've never played Through the Ages, I think the tutorial on Through the Ages is not bad.
Pretty snarky, isn't it?
Well, it's blood.
Yeah.
Blood.
Have you read a CGE rulebook?
Yes.
Yep.
So this is true to form. I'm just saying.
Well, sometimes snark works, okay? No, I like the Through the Ages. I'm not sure if I've actually played with the new expansion yet, though. It's like the first time ever where the expansion came out on an app before it came out as the card game. That's because there was printing problems.
There's a printing problem.
But that expansion's coming out really soon, actually. So Through the Ages, my number 4.
Number 3.
I am once again going to sync up with Mandy for my number 3 with Potion Explosion. Everything that Mandy said, it's pretty. That's all I have to say about that. When you activate,
That's all I gotta say about that.
You hit one, and then all of the different elements just sort of wire on the screen and zoom into your potions, and you've got sort of these vials that contain your essences, and you're filling them up, and it's a very dramatic, fun presentation. I do wish there was an undo button for this one, but this is one of those situations where as soon as you hit something, you've revealed new information, so you can't go back. But it's so pretty, and another one that my kids immediately were gravitated to. They enjoyed playing that and making moves, and it all made sense to them, and then was easier to introduce the physical version because they knew what was going on in the app. Great game. Number 3, Potion Explosion.
And see how happy you were when you talked about it? You got really excited and you had a smile on your face. That's how it should be when you talk about an app.
It's pretty. It's all I have to say about that.
So we're just lucky there's not a Powerpuff board game app. I know where number 1 would be.
That'd be awesome. Okay, so my number 3, do I even need to say the words? Pew pew. If you were listening earlier.
Ticket to Ride.
Oh!
It wasn't Choo Choo.
No, Shards of Infinity, which was mentioned by Tom.
Wow, it's also on 3 lists so far. Wow.
Yeah. There you go.
It's just that good.
It's so good.
And I think as we, start rising to the top, we'll probably have a little more overlap because my number 3 is also an overlap. It's Castles of Burgundy. I love Castles of Burgundy. So and I think Digidice did a really great job with the app. It's got a lot going on. I think I always really appreciate the challenge of making all these components and all these, individual boards and shared boards and tiles and tokens and gems and bits all fit on a little screen, and the challenge of that. And I think Castles of Burgundy did a really interesting job of that for such a broad game. But in many ways, because we play so many new games, we're cult of the new kind of inherently. I really appreciate that Castles of Burgundy, the app, allows me to play Castles of Burgundy more when it's just not going to hit the table as much as I may wish it would. So Castles of Burgundy is choice.
Excellent choice.
Thank you, Mandy.
My number 3 is proof to me, again, how much important the developer of the app is. And it also raises questions why some publishers use different developers. Because I just mentioned Viticulture, my top 10 games, and the app for it I thought was okay at best. But I love the app implementation of Charterstone. Charterstone, I didn't think a legacy game would translate very well to the app, but since Charterstone is more of a learn to play the full game through a campaign type thing rather than legacy anyhow, I thought it worked really well. This one actually played through the whole campaign live on the channel here. And then I played it afterwards, and I really like this. It's a good, solid worker placement game, lots of fun, lets you do legacy-ish things like name the characters and such, and it just, I enjoyed it a lot. I wish he had used this company to make Viticulture instead of, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Charterstone, my number 3.
I wasn't crazy about Charterstone, but I did like the app because it's a lot for Charterstone. I think I played it on Steam. And, when you're moving across the screen, like pulling in and out, like it's a lot of things that they had to put into that game. So I think they did a good job.
I think one interesting thing about that comment, Tom, is similar to how sometimes gamers don't understand how small publishers are when they talk about even publishers that have a number of well-known games out there. It's still often just maybe one full-time person behind the scenes, maybe 2 or 3, right? These are mostly small companies.
Yeah.
And it's very similar for app development shops. When you say, well, I don't know why they don't use the same, sometimes I'm betting it's just bandwidth. Based on their release dates, Viticulture and Charterstone were in development at the same time. Yeah. And they would not happen in that time window if the same development shop did both, because there's just not bandwidth on the team. I actually know the teams behind both of those apps, and we're talking about like 5 people or less. So they're pretty small companies too.
No, I get that. It's just, then I just wish they had waited, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm being mean in that regard. I think it's not even close, I think. Well, whatever. I'm not here to talk about how I think Viticulture's fine. But I love Charterstone. My number 3.
Number 2.
My number 2 is another Matt Leacock co-op game. That is Forbidden Island. I wrote down drama ! When I was down my notes here. Once again, this really highlights the danger points. You've got these sinking tiles, and when you're playing the real version, you pull a card and you're like, okay, where are the cliffs of insanity? Where is that? But the app zooms to them, and this sinks, and this comes over here, and this one sinks, and this one's lost forever. And so the whole thing just ramps up. Even when you finish, there's this beautiful shot of the helicopter as you all escape, and there's a sunset, and it's like, yeah, we did it. All right. I believe this one also has a mode where you can, they call it, I think, tabletop mode, where you can lay the iPad in the center of the table, and everyone has their seating positions, and they all have it from their view, which is kind of cool. And it actually feels like you're passing things around the table and working as a team. It actually just replaces the board and everything in a tabletop mode. I really enjoy playing it with the kids, and it just brings to life the adventure of Forbidden Island. My number 2.
I'll have to try this one. I actually have not tried this app. Have you tried this one, Suzanne or Tom?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
totally agree with Eric. It's a delightful implementation.
Okay. I've not tried it.
And they have all the layouts. That's the other thing. They have a ton of different tile layouts that you can explore. So instead of just that basic one, there's a lot of replayability in the app.
I think those are in-app purchases, if I'm not mistaken. You may get one other alternate, but
I like the game. I like the app. I would like it more, I think, if I like the game more. I like the game fine, but I feel like it's a game I play with my kids, and I don't normally play my apps with my kids. So then I don't play this very much on the iPad.
Okay, got it. All right, so my number 2 is one I play a lot. Like you don't understand. I didn't know you could play this offline until Suzanne's like, but Mandy, you don't need to be online to play this app. I said, what? I was thrilled. So my number 2 is One Deck Dungeon. I love this app so much. And I love the fact that you can pick between the different characters because it's a solo game. I know in the actual game you can play with 2 if you combine games, but it's mainly a solo game. And you can play with 2 characters and you can switch up the different types of characters, but you can build those characters. So every time you play with a character at the end of your run, there are certain things that you can upgrade, special abilities within that character. So the next time you use them, you may start with an extra die or something like that. And I get excited about a game where I have to roll dice. This is a game where you have to roll dice and place them in order to complete objectives, where I'm yelling, why did you roll a 1? I needed a 6. And anytime I start yelling, I'm bad about bad die rolls. I'm in it to win it. So One Deck Dungeon, love it. Very well done.
I've not even played the actual game.
Yeah,
so.
I haven't either. I'm waiting for One Deck Galaxy. I think it's based
Oh yeah,
on
that
a
looks
similar
so
system.
cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
that
really,
one I'm
really
much
good.
more in for.
All right, so my number 2, Tom, you have good taste. Mystic Vale. Mystic Vale is
I feel
phenomenal.
validated.
Just ridiculously good in digital form. I have all of the expansions. I have all the content, as far as I know, for Mystic Vale in real life. It is a deck builder. I love this. I love the card crafting concept. In fact, I have all the card crafting games because I just think it's very clever and very entertaining. But without a doubt, there is some fiddliness to the sleeving and unsleeving. And with the app, not only does it just take away the fiddliness, but it's a beautiful, well done, thoughtful, polished app experience. It has all that content supported in it. Mandy and I have played it against each other in episodes of Apptastic. In fact, we have a grudge match because we tied, so we need to go again soon to break that tie. But it plays great on Steam. It plays great in mobile. They did some thoughtful things in how you can switch screens to see the cards. Every detail is there, and if you don't like the game, you don't like the game. There's nothing to do that. Sure. But Mystic Vale to me is a must-have app. I play it a ton. It's just great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my number 2 is on here because I like the game, I like the app, and I love the implementation of it, and that is Raiders of the North Sea. Mm-hmm. Raiders of the North Sea, the fact that you see the ship sail off and shoot at shoot arrows and stuff, and it also... it's just so well done. It feels like, of all the apps on my list, even more so than my number 1, it feels like the best done one from a video game perspective, I guess. It's just smooth. It's like the company that put Raiders of the North Sea, if they do any app, I'm gonna play it. Even if I don't like the game, that's how much I like this implementation of it. So Raiders of the North Sea, I also like as a game quite a bit. I wish the expansions were on the app. When they come, this could move to number 1. But as it is, I still like it a lot, Raiders of the North Sea.
This is one I liked as an app better than the game. I don't love the game. Much preferred it as an app. And you're right, it was well done. The graphics and whatnot were very good.
And finally, number 1.
All right, my number 1 was mentioned, called out by Mandy, but not on her list. That is Splendor, a game that I
That's your number 1?
I like this game. So I like Splendor, and the reason it's on, in the number 1 position is the solo challenges. Yes. I really appreciate when the board game app has some sort of mode that makes it different from the physical version. And Splendor has this world hopping solo challenge where you're given a limited, constraints to work your way through these missions, and you have to get a certain number of points within a certain number of moves, and figuring that out is a puzzle challenge. And I appreciate that in the Splendor app. I mean, the regular game also works well. I have no complaints about that presentation, but I really like the solo challenge mode in Splendor, which is why it's my number 1.
I was throwing a little bit of shade there at Splendor, but the app was it's a very well done app. Very well done.
Oh, you don't like the game of Splendor?
No, I don't. But the app, I actually own the app. Yes, I bought it and I own it. I had some long bus rides,
okay? Game you didn't like? Even though I just said that earlier?
That's what she's saying.
I heard it was good. I said, okay, let me give it another try in the app form. I had some really long bus rides to work at the time. And I have to tell you, the app was really well done. Does it make me want to run out and buy the board game? It sure doesn't. But I still really like the app. Oh, boy. All right. Well, my number 1, I think, was on, I don't even know if this was on everybody's list, but a couple. Star Realms. I mean, it's a game I've played a ton of. It's so quick. It's so easy. It's one of the ones that's been out for a while, but it still holds up really well. I think I have most of the expansions, and it's good when I go out and buy like mostly everything. So, and I think this is one that I've played with people who are not really into apps. I said, just give it a try. And we've had fun playing it, even if we're not really great at it. So Star Realms for me, my number 1.
You have great taste. All right. So I said it was easy to get to a top 20, but harder to cut it down to the top 10. So the 11 to 20 are Shards of Infinity, Potion Explosion, Istanbul, Suro, Cat Lady, The Game, Twilight Struggle, Patchwork, and Dresden Files. Okay, so for my number 1 game.
Wow, that was so dirty.
My number one game is really just a reflection of my personal taste in gaming, and a game that I just play a ton and thoroughly enjoy. I could argue that it's not the most polished game that I've experienced, but I sure do love it. And Mandi, this is why you and I are friends, because my number 1 app is One Deck Dungeon. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so good.
I put a lot of thought into this, but I have played so much of One Deck Dungeon. There is so much content. I don't know if people realize, and Eric, when you were saying you like it when apps offer something, One Deck Dungeon offers some app-only characters, right? So you have automatically, when you buy the app, you get some new content for a game if you enjoy the game. Then they have the full expansion on it, and there's just, 20, 15 characters that you can play through that have different abilities and different powers. The gameplay is the same, right? You're rolling dice, you're building dice pools, you're fighting monsters. But for some reason, I find it almost just relaxing. It's the game I play at night when I'm lying in bed and trying to settle down. It's familiar, it's comfortable, and it's engaging and fun. And the thing that really pushes it over the edge for me is that each of these characters you can build up. So as you play, you earn these points that you can apply to a character sheet. And when you get enough points, you can unlock different abilities. So you kind of strengthen your character for you to go back in. And that, I think, is the real hook that keeps me going back. And, I have the physical game. In fact, it's a small box. I used to take it with me. And I remember I was out with my family and it was late at night and I wanted to play a game. Nobody else was awake. So I pulled out One Deck Dungeon and I was rolling the dice and I realized it was making so much noise. Everybody else was asleep and the dice, a fistful of dice, it was making so much noise that I was like, oh, darn it. And I didn't have the app at that time. If I'd had the app, it would have been perfect. So One Deck Dungeon, it's just a game I really enjoy. It's a game that the app offers so much to me. And it's a winner if you haven't checked it out.
Great on the airplane. That's why I mentioned the whole not having it internet to play it. I played it on the airplane when I've had some long flights, and it's wonderful. And wait a second. I'm going to jump in here. If we get to throw in other games, am I allowed to do that too?
No, I just had a really big hiccup.
Unbelievable.
Go ahead, quick.
Okay. Well, mine's
Just
like
kidding.
a game.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, can I slip it in real quick?
Mandi, that's your problem. Is you're too nice.
I'm gonna throw it out there. Slay the Spire. I know it's not really a game, but it's a deck builder. It should be a game. So Slay the Spire. There it is.
You're worse than Eric.
I'll say Hearthstone if we're doing that. All right, my number 1 breaks something that you guys complained about earlier, which was the lack of a reverse button or undo button on it. And a lot of this is how much I love the game behind it, but I still just love it. In fact, if only the printer of this game had made their board look as nice as this app, and that's Terraforming Mars. Terraforming Mars is easily the most addicted I've been to an app in a long time. I play game after game after game after game of it, trying to score different combos, trying to do different things. And this is without any expansion. This is just the base game. And it is phenomenal looking, which I know is hard to believe considering how Terraforming Mars looks. But I just love it. I love the combos. I like that the game this complex with a lot of different things to remember. It's all remembered for you, and I just keep playing it over and over again. So it's not the most polished of all the apps, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good, although I hear you shouldn't play it on a phone.
I haven't actually gotten to try it yet.
No, neither have I.
I'm looking forward to playing it.
Is it Steam? I know I saw it on Steam. Is it only Steam or is it on
It's
other?
both, and in fact, you can play. I played against people who played on Steam, which I like. I wish more apps did that, had that ability to go back and forth.
Yeah.
I think Charterstone you can do that too with.
Yeah.
Can you do it through the ages?
Oh, that I don't know.
I don't know. Actually, I haven't tried
I don't
that.
know. I just like when you can play against someone on Steam. It's nice to
Right.
cross-platform stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we hang up our, I don't know what we're gonna hang up, our Spurs. I don't know what. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Is there any apps, folks, that you feel like we should have talked about? Someone said Twilight Struggle. I haven't actually played that one yet.
I also haven't played it. Yeah. But it's on the list.
What else did people ask? What we didn't put on here yet? What's Sleeves by Game app? It's not a game, but the Sleeves by Game app is great. I don't know what that means.
Joking
Like
about
it-
Mystic Vale.
Oh, probably.
Or it tells you what you scan a game or enter a game. It tells you what sleeves to buy and how many.
Oh,
Got
also
it.
mention that if it's not a game app, but I use the app Board Game Stats to track my plays,
Mhm.
and it connects to your BGG count if you're into that kind of thing. And I just log in, and my friends are in it, or you can put anonymous players in there, and I just track what games I'm playing. It really helps when I have to recall things for the podcast. But the really cool thing is it gives you a bunch of information and data collection and infographics about your play, so you can figure out, oh, look, I play 50% of my games with 3 players, or I play, my games tend to take 90 minutes on average. There's just so much interesting data that the app creates for you if you enter your game plays. I've really enjoyed it. It's not a game app, but it's one that I think is worth checking out.
Some people are mentioning Tokaido in the comments.
Hokkaido's a great app.
I've heard
Very
a lot
polished.
I haven't.
I've heard a lot of good things
Yeah.
about that. Jaipur,
Yes, Jaipur is good. I have that one. It's fun. Good one.
Suburbia.
Yeah, I've played it.
Suburbia is one I prefer in app form than
Yes.
physical.
I agree with you on that one, Suzanne.
Let's see what else was mentioned. Small World is good.
Mhm.
I played
Small World's
that
great.
one.
You know, the new Sagrada app is very, very good
Yes.
too. I just haven't played a ton of it yet, just because it's so new. So
Right. I think that was on Steam, right? That we played that one. Yeah.
yes, yeah, it's on your phone though too.
Why wasn't Hearthstone on my list? Because I know it's a card game, but it's app only, and I was just picking more ones that were not just app only,
Right.
because that might be a separate list someday. Although I haven't played enough games for that to be a thing yet.
There are so many. Well, Suzanne and I have been playing a lot of those. That it's like they should be board games, but they're only in app form. But they literally take mechanics and things from board games. Anyway, let's talk off air, and we'll give you some suggestions.
I don't know how many more apps I want on my phone. I'm kidding. I'll take more. I'm on it. I'm on the thing.
Yeah, I already have a shopping list of like 4 apps I got.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of different people, a lot of things. Yeah, like I need to get on some of these that y'all mentioned. But that's the good thing, is that these are fairly inexpensive. This is an easier way to be in the board game hobby, honestly, than buying actual board games.
Right.
And if you watch, they can be on sale. Often, Mandy mentioned there's a bunch of stuff on sale now.
On Steam right now, crazy sales. Even on Nintendo Switch, I think they're kind of doing like 17-hour sales or something. But they had Carcassonne on sale. Pandemic was on sale. All those were on Nintendo Switch, and then Steam had a whole bunch on sale. I'm actually not even the salesperson. This is all Suzanne's fault. She's got me tracking all the sales on all the apps. So if you want to know about sales on apps, Suzanne is the person to go to.
Yeah, it's just I don't know if they're timed because of virtual gaming con and things like that or whatnot, or it's just the summer season and people trying to time it with the Steam summer sale. But along with Steam and Switch, a number of apps are also on sale on iOS and Android. Somebody, Barry, in the chat just mentioned Six Nymph on BGA. Well, Six Nymph has an app version called Six Takes, and it's on sale for like 99 cents right now on the phone, that kind of thing. So if any of these sound good, you should definitely check them out, because right now there's a reasonable chance that you'll get them for even slightly less money.
For sure.
All righty, well, good. I hope this is helpful to everyone. Thank you, Mandi, Suzanne, and Eric, for showing up and doing this.
Thank you.
Of course, if you're watching this later on, folks, you can put your comments and things that we should have mentioned or games, apps that you like in the comments. This is not the end of Summer Spectacular. Nay, it's just the beginning.
No.
Only the beginning.
We'll be back at 3:30, where you can watch me. I was about to say destroy my children in gaming, but probably I will lose. We'll see what happens then. And there's a contest. Go back to the beginning of this episode to see the contest going on. And we'll have another top 10 tomorrow with Paula Deming and Crystal. So I guess that's pretty much it. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Eric Summerer.
I'm Suzanne Sheldon.
And I'm Mandi Hutchinson.
Have fun gaming.